in 2000 to have the opportunity to start a nonprofit called Angels of Grace Foster Family Agency. And I had that privilege. It was not just my own doing. This was truly a community of resources, people. I had an attorney that was very involved with helping me to start the nonprofit. And then the community came together, and then my staff. So it's been an amazing journey, and these children that we rescue are coming to us at all hours of the night. We work right alongside Child Protective Services, and we come out 2, 3 in the morning, and we're able to do the same thing that was done for me. We're able to put shoes on their feet and pajamas, toothbrush, you know, the things that our kids are being pulled out of. Basically, we're pulling them out of the pits of hell to be wasted. It wasn't so much, it was just a human experience of neglect and abuse. And I mean, children all the way up to the age of, you know, till we die, it can fall in that category of being abused. And so, you know, when we come and we're in a place to be rescued, you know, we want it to be in a place where we can truly feel the love and the compassion of the people that are extending their hand to us. When I went from the Margie Mason Center to the emergency room at the old community hospital, there was a nurse that was there, and she was an amazing nurse. She was coming around and taking care of everybody that was in that emergency room, and it was the trauma part of the hospital, because I came in by ambulance, so the people that were being rescued were coming in out of an emergency experience. And this nurse was just going around, and she was telling everybody, you know, that they were going to be okay, and taking their vitals. And I was kind of the most non-emergency person there, so she would come around and she would tell me that I was going to be okay, that, you know, she was going to take care of me, that it wasn't that I wasn't important, that it was just people that needed her help more. And in one of the times that she came up to me, she looked at me and she looked me straight in my eyes, and she told me that I was beautiful, that I had value, and that I had worth, and that God had a plan for my life. And it was a little bump in the road, and I was going to get exactly what I needed to hear. I needed to know that I had value. I was in a place of a no value zone, basically. I didn't feel like my husband didn't love me. I felt like I was a non-human person with no value. And I saw how important she was to everybody there. And she was beautiful. She had the most beautiful cool blue eyes I've ever seen. Her spirit was full of life, and she thought I had value. And her words really seemed worthy to me. I remember her coming so close to my face, and I asked her to pray for me, and she did. She said a little prayer that I was beautiful and that God had plans for my life, and I was very special to God, and I was going to be okay. And, you know, it was amazing because I always remember her eyes, never really knew her name. And 30 years later, 27 years later, I'm at my Rotary, and there's a police officer, actually the chief of police is there doing a demonstration or talking about lights in the community. And his wife was there, and I had spoken about a nonprofit fundraiser we were having, the Luau of Love. So I stood up and I presented the opportunity for people to attend. And his wife came up to me after his presentation. And she said she wasn't working, that she would really like to help me because she would just feel like that would be her way of giving back to the community. And as she was speaking to me, I looked into her eyes, and it was the most amazing, warm feeling I had. And I asked her, were you ever a nurse? And she said, yes, I was a nurse a long time ago. And I said, oh my God, were you a trauma nurse? And she said, yes, I was. And I said, oh my God, do you remember this little Mexican lady coming in and grabbed me, and she was all beat up? And she looked at me and she's like, pray for her. And I said, oh my God, that's me, 27 years later. And we cried, and it was truly a Kodak moment. And I said, you know, those words that you said to me, I carried them in my heart for 27 years. And because of that, I'm able to give back to the community. And every child that I rescue, I tell them, you're valuable, you have worth. This is a little bump on the road, and we're going to get to the other side. She was proud, and it was a miracle moment by what you poured into me. And because of that, I got out of my abusive relationship. I went on and got my master's, and I started an agency, and now I respond to children the way people responded to me, and it was because of you. And we've become very good friends. Her name is Jana Farmer. She has a name. And we've been very close friends since. And I tell that God will take what man meant for bad and turn it for good. And in my situation, he brought that angel back to me. And we still have been able to journey life together. We're all on a journey. And if you can wake up every day and you can decide to either do good and be the light and the salt in the earth, even regardless of how you're feeling, because we're not always feeling at the top of our game. Sometimes we have those moments where we're getting maybe close to the end of our lives because we're looking at ourselves going, okay, in my case, I'm 54. This is kind of, an opportunity for me to reflect and say, where do I want to be for the next 25 years? I'm going to be 70 something. And then you could start feeling very discouraged about, well, I might not even be able to walk by the time, maybe I won't even be, the maybes in life will keep us paralyzed. So you just get up every day and you do the best you can for that day and you trust God to guide you where you're supposed to go tomorrow. I feel very confident that I have shared my gifts and talents and passions with the social workers that I come and work with me, with the students, interns that are coming through and getting their master's or their bachelor's or even their associate science in social work. I've been able to share with them the hope of just taking every day and making the most of it and really enjoying this life and enjoying it abundantly. Many of us are the walking dead. We're living, but we're not living. We're too busy looking about what could have been, what should have been, what was, what could have. We can't go there. We got to be here, we got to be now, and we got to be intentional every day and mindful. And the kind of work that we do and I do and people in the community do, we're living in times where people cannot say I've arrived, because we're seeing that there's people that thought they arrived and now they're homeless. We've seen people that said, I'm in a place where I've got my master's, but guess what? Now dementia's setting in, or now I have cancer. We're just not in a place where we ever arrive. We just are constantly on this journey. So those younger people that are on this journey, don't be afraid. Heart is filled with true love. Love is a choice, and love is a beautiful thing. And love should not have. Child Protective Services will contact us at, let's say, 3 o'clock in the morning that they have 4 children coming out of severe neglect. For some reason, those calls come in like at 3, 4 in the morning. I think people sometimes just, those are the times when there's a lot of chaos in the world and in those morning nights. So the county will be there to pick them up. The police have already been there. And only the police can put holds on these children, and then they call CPS out. And then Child Protective Services will call us because we're contracted with them. And then the whole bottom of this building is a clothing closet. So I come in and I have clothing sometimes in my home or here. I'll come here and pick up the sizes that I need. We have volunteers that put the clothing together by size, so I can just come here and pick up a bag that'll be for 2 days. Because we don't have an emergency shelter in Fresno, we pick them up, they bring them to us, and then in 2 days they have what you call a team decision-making meeting. And in that meeting, everybody that can respond to helping this family become healthy and whole aside, we're going to send the children with grandma, we're going to put them with a mentor placement, could be a neighbor. We're going to send them back home with mom because mom needs some help, and we're gonna envelope her with help in our community. Maybe she needs to go into a drug treatment program. Whatever the situation is, the county hopefully can send those children back home. The government wants healthy families, and children can remain in these healthy homes. It's when services are provided and families are equipped to be healthy. They need the tools to be healthy. You have a child coming out of domestic violence, let's say, for example, then that family needs to get some counseling, needs to get, some therapy, that needs to understand the skills, maybe parenting skills. We have a family that might be addicted to cocaine, might be addicted to heroin, might be addicted to pain medication, alcohol, meth. There's just so many. Fresno has a huge population of people that have these types of substances. So you go in there and you rescue the children from these situations. The police will not make these decisions if the children are not at risk. But if there's immediate harm to a child, that child will have to be removed. And this is when you read about those children that somebody did not respond to that end up in places that are places of no return. We've had people that had their children in the car while they were, drunk or high on and they get into accidents, and it's too late for us to go in and intervene because the children now are deceased.
Right.
So there's a lot of situations where people can sit and say, well, the county just wants. Trust me, we do not want to raise your kids. Mm-hmm. The government was not designed to raise children. But because of the government in the country that we live in, we are blessed to have these services. I've gone to different third world countries where children are walking in the streets with nobody even to give them food, and these are 4-year-old children. We are very blessed in our country, and I think not only do they come in and require these things of the families, they pay for services. So these families, these parents are going to have to be able to go to these places, and the government's going to pay them. A lot of these women have come to me because of a man. They've been in that situation where, oh my God, I love him. And I get to be transparent with them and say, look, I was there. I get you, I know. But you know what? You gotta love your children more than that. Women have come to me because of a man. They've been in that situation where, oh my God, I love him. And I get to be transparent with them and say, look, I was there. I get you, I know. But you know what? You gotta love your children more than that. You don't want your children to think this is normal, because it's a cycle that they'll decide to continue to live that way. You don't want your child to end up abused or dead in the hands of a man or a woman. And so it's our duty, our privilege to share a healthy life with our and the women will leave and they will come back to me educated. A lot of them very empowered. Their children are teenagers. I have a beautiful lady. The first children that were placed with me at Angels of Grace were a set of twins, a boy and a girl. They were 2 years old, and their mother was a CPA, and she was an educated woman, but she got caught in the world of cocaine. And her children ended up with me, and she came from a very privileged background. And here she was in the middle of this mess. She went into a rehab. She got all the help she needed. I kept her kids for a year, I think. And she comes to me every year with an angel and the most delicious chocolate candies you'll ever taste. They're phenomenal. And she brings me the children. And it's always 2 days before Christmas. It's always on the 23rd, December 23rd. And those kids this year turned 18 years old. And she does it because she wants to never forget. She went back to school and now she got her degree, and she's a substance abuse counselor. She married a man that has his own business, so she's got a beautiful home. Her whole life was moved into a beautiful place, and she needs to come back and she needs to feel like it helps her to remember. And at the same time, it empowers me because I see those babies and they're all grown up now. They're doing well. They went into a healthy environment. And there are success stories. There are people that if you extend them the opportunity to change their lives, they'll do it. Mm-hmm. Biological, birth to you, whatever, children are just led to us. Mm-hmm. They're on for 18 years. It goes by really quick. And it's in those times we either get to pour goodness, greatness, or toxic stuff into them. So I think it's a good thing that if the parent is not going to get it together and they're not going to be a healthy environment, that the children do have an opportunity to go into a home where they're going to be able to have their emotional, physical, and spiritual needs met. We've been very blessed. This Focus Forward was a story about hope, and they chose to highlight my story on this. And so this is a wonderful magazine that every year comes out, and it features people that have overcome. And the money for that actually goes to foster children. So that was an amazing thing. We've also been recognized by the Fresno County Child Abuse Prevention. We were recognized as child abuse advocates, prevention of child abuse advocates last year. We've just been really excited about many of the awards that we've had. Local Hero of the Year, the Outstanding Field of Abuse Prevention, once again by the Council of Child Abuse Prevention. The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce named us Business of the Year. And then also the Women's Chamber, Fresno County Women's Chamber of Commerce, named me Mother of the Year 2013, which is a huge, huge, huge honor, and I'm very humbled by that, because remember when I started on my journey in wanting to do something special in the world, my number one thing to do was to be a mom and a wife. So to be able to be named Mother of the Year because of 1,000 children that I get to hold on to and pour into is truly a blessing. We don't always get the blessings the way we think we should have them, like, you know, maybe I didn't have them all but it's a blessing nevertheless, and my heart is filled with the opportunity to see these kids come through and really see me as a